All right, to rugby, and I'm delighted to say we've got Shane Williams with us. Shane, how you doing?
Not too bad.
You liked playing in Dublin? Your team was pretty successful here over the years?
Yeah, probably more successful when I'm not playing. But I think I've won over here twice. And I think the boys had a little bit more, won a few more games over the last couple of years. So yes, not quite as scary as it used to be.
I thought that actually, because there was a period in the 90s in particular when we would win in Cardiff and you guys would win here. But then I thought you guys got better over your period of time. It kind of...
Yeah, we did get better, thank God. We weren't particularly good in the 90s, to be fair, but...
we were all crap.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't think it was. Yeah, pretty much.
Apart from England and France.
Pretty much, yeah. Nothing to write the home about, but... Yeah, so no, I think we're definitely within Warren Gatland's reign. It hasn't been quite as daunting to come here. I don't just think sometimes the style of rugby that Wales plays suits us against Ireland. And we often seem to be the underdogs, but we come up trumps.
When Gatland takes over as Wales coach, is he still reeling? I know it's 8 years or so, 9 years or so since he's lost the Ireland job. Is he still reeling? Is his first trip to Dublin a really big one for Warren?
Oh yes, it's always a big game, especially when you're coming from somewhere you have a bit of history with. Of course it is, and it's any coach really. Whenever you've coached a team or wherever, you always take it personal anyway, don't you? Whether you leave on good terms or bad terms. And I think Warren has enjoyed his time coming over here and winning games. He certainly has a smile on his face when he's playing the Irish. But I think one of the reasons is because Ireland are always the good team. They're always the most consistent team in the Six Nations. And if you come and beat Ireland, especially in Dublin, you're doing something right. And he gets a little bit more pleasure from that then. But he seems to enjoy the Irish wins, that's for sure.
What is it about your style that you think matches well with Ireland's style? And what is a tradition that you guys have been able to do?
I think whenever I've been part of a team that's been successful against Ireland, is you put them under pressure. They can be very comfortable when Sexton and Murray are on top, and they got time on ball, and the pack's going forward, and the likes of Sean O'Brien and these guys again forward with their ball carries. When Wales I've done well against them. We've stopped these big players get over the gain line. We've had players like Dan Lydiard, Sam Warburton, really Alwyn Jones smashing them there, stopping Sexton, get quick ball. Make the breakdowns a little bit messier for Murray because he has an armchair and he's one of the best nines out there. And when he's got an armchair, it's a very easy day for Murray and Ireland. So we just compete. And I think, World Cup 2011, where we knew we were up against a big pack, we just, tackled everything that came down the channel, made it difficult for them.
It still hurts us.
And got on top in that respect. But I think Ireland are a better team now. Tactically, they're one of the best out there. Their kicking game, especially from Sexton and Murray, is incredible, very accurate. And that's something that Wales are going to have to improve on because they were quite poor against England. So there are areas, but they're good in most areas as well.
It's funny you say that we're better tactically now, because last year in the build up to the game, Warren's grenade that he launched in the build up was about CJ Stander being pretty predictable. He then goes to pick him for the Lions, and CJ battles his way into the Lions team. So obviously he liked what he saw, but they dealt with that last year really, really well. And you mentioned Lydiard. It was that kind of stereotypically brilliant back row performance from the Welsh against CJ last year, where they just cut him down at the point of contact, as opposed to trying to use your momentum to stop him. It's like, well, I'm just going to tackle you around your legs.
Yeah, and you look at every team you play against and every player, and there's always different tactics. And again, Wales, whenever I've played as well, the back row have always been very strong. And then you bring someone like CJ in, who's a good ball carrier, strong, got Sean O'Brien and these players that they pretty much get Ireland going forward, and then Sexton and Murray do the rest, really. So we've always prided ourselves on competing in the back row, which is interesting, really, because we've got a different back row, available this week. But we've got a back row that's playing really well.
Yeah.
Perhaps not as physical as a Sam Warburton or a Lydiard or these guys. We've got Moriarty is. He'll throw his body around everywhere. But we've got Josh Navidi, who gets through a lot of tackles. Shingler, who's an excellent ball carrier and gets over the gain line. So a little bit of a different dynamic there. We might be a little bit quicker away from the breakdowns than the Irish there, but the Irish are always going to be big and strong. So it'll be interesting to see how that area goes, because it is always somewhere we've always tried to target, because they've been so strong in that area.
Yeah, is there a certain element of that that's just about hammering the hammer almost? It's like, there's their strength. They think they're going to beat us in that area. We're going to tell them what we really think of that area.
Yeah, it always is, and when you play against Sexton, he's one of the best 10s in the world, but the game plan is always, right, let's get on top of Sexton, let's stop him having the ball on the front foot, let's get in his head, let's make sure he doesn't have an armchair. And sometimes it works, a lot of times it doesn't, but you've really got to do that. And you attack where they're strong. You've got to, because those, Sexton's the reason that Ireland win games. It was his drop goal that won the game for them against France. All the hard work was done by the forwards, but you don't see that afterwards, do you? So yeah, you've got to. And like I say, World Cup 2011, we attacked players like Sean O'Brien because we knew they were the ball carriers. We chopped them down quick, get them out of the game, get their positive game out of the way, and then we can develop and work on that. And that's what you've got to do. And it's coaches do it. We were on about Warren Gatland, on about CJ Stander. Then he picks him for the Lions. He knows CJ Stander is a great player.
Yeah.
But it's always great to have get in his head a little bit. He's going into the game thinking, they're targeting me today, right? Perhaps I've got to do this a little bit different. Perhaps I do this instead of doing that.
Do you think that works?
Oh, of course it does.
So it worked for Eddie Jones last week.
It definitely it was a tough game for Patchell last week. Having Eddie Jones say that. The whole of Wales make a massive hoo-ha about it, and the next thing you know, you're playing against England and you're thinking, oh my God, I remember Eddie Jones saying this is going to happen. And it does play a part, and Patchell didn't have his best game. So, the coach is throwing a little grenade there. It sometimes works, sometimes backfires.
Yeah.
But also what it does, it takes pressure off the players as well. It puts pressure on them, but it takes a little bit of pressure off your own players, and sometimes it works, like I say. But I'm sure we'll have a couple of little grenades popping out this week, and that's what the Six Nations is all about.
Yeah, exactly. Sean O'Brien hasn't done any media yet this week. We wait with bated breath to see what he has to say about this match. One of the things that we wanted to talk to you about was the back three, and I'll get to that in a minute. But the other thing that's happening this week is that Wales are massive underdogs for this game, and I can't really, for the life of me, understand it. The prices come in a little bit. People have started to look at that as like completely ridiculous. This to me is a one-score game, really. The way now, one team might win it by a bit more, but there's no guarantee that it's Ireland who are going to win it 9 times out of 10, which is kind of what the suggestion is at the minute.
No, I think they've got a 10-point start, haven't they, Wales? And I'll take that all day long, thank you. No, look, they're very evenly matched. I think Ireland have got the experience of a Sexton and Murray, and they've got players in that team that have been there and done it. But Wales also have got experience. They've got a lot of new blood coming through, a lot of youngsters that are playing out their skin as well. Individuals, Stefan Evans, Josh Navidi, Shingler, players that probably wouldn't have started the Six Nations had George North, Liam Williams, Lydiot and Sam Obden, Tipuric been fit. So it's a little bit of a blessing in disguise, really. So you look at both teams player for player. It's very evenly matched. I think obviously home advantage is huge in the Six Nations. Ask any international player, they love playing at home, and it is a big factor.
And does being an underdog matter? Like, is that something that this week nobody believes in you? Is that, will Warren Gatland be tapping into that?
No, look, I'm sure Warren would be saying, look, we're not the favourites for this game. No one really expects us to go and win in Dublin, but look at our record in Dublin. Look at what we've done against these guys. We were written off in the World Cup. We were written off 2 years ago, and so on and so forth. And he'll just be putting all the positive things back into the minds of these guys. He'll be telling the lads, look, like so Josh Navidi, look, Josh, you're playing out to your skin at the moment, but you've got to keep playing like that. If you don't, we've got Justin Tipuric, we've got Sam Warburton to come back, Shingler as well. We've got these guys, Stefan Evans. We've got George North and Liam Williams coming back. We need you to play well this week, and it does play a factor, and it gets you going a little bit. Really, you won't be going on about, look, we've got a 10 start, we've got this. He will just be putting all the positive factors into the team, telling them what they should, that they should have won against England in Twickenham. They didn't score a point in 60 minutes or whatever it was. We can do the same in Dublin. We start a bit better. We've got this game, and that's what a good coach does, really. And obviously Schmidt will be doing the opposite. Look, we're favourites, but that's a load of nonsense.
Yeah.
Look at their record against us.
Yeah.
They know how to beat us in Dublin. So no complacency. You go for the throw, we go for the jugular after 5 minutes, and we keep it there. And we do what we did in Paris, and we're just ruthless, and we'll win the game.
Is there more of a confidence in the rugby culture that exists in Wales now simply because of Scarlets? Because previously you could look at Wales and say they're a team that managed to, say, underperform at club level. Then they have this collective goal at international level under Warren Gatland. They overachieved, some might say. Whereas this year it sort of feels like Scarlets aren't punching above their weight. They're playing as good as they should be, and they're playing well consistently, and there is that sort of translation into the overall rugby culture, it seems.
Yeah, I think so. I think look, before the Six Nations there was panic in Wales because we had Sam Warburton out, we had George North out, we had Liam Williams, we had the massive list, 13 players I think out injured, and he was like, oh my god, what are we going to do? We didn't play particularly well in the autumn series, this is going to be a tough Six Nations. But I honestly think it was a blessing in disguise. The likes of Shingle have come in, and Josh Navidi's kept his place, Stephen Evans is playing well, Josh Adams has come in and done well, and all of a sudden you put Scotland to the sword. You could have beaten England, and you've from what people are saying, it's almost just your second string team, but it's not. These players have come in and they've continued to play like they have for the Scarlets, like they have for Worcester and wherever. And I think it's a huge blessing in disguise. What Warren did as well, he looked at the players he had in the Welsh team, in the Welsh squad, and has looked at Scarlets and thought, well, that style of rugby suits Wales. That's how we won the Grand Slam in 08. That's how we've been so successful, is by outscoring teams with tries. Let's bring these boys in and let's play like the Scarlets have been playing. They've been playing with tempo, we've been playing with width. They come to Ireland, they beat the likes of Leinster and teams like that. They're still in the European Cup, and won the Pro 12 last year, and they're looking very comfortable. So why not bring those players in and play like that for England, for Wales, and that's exactly what they've done, and it's worked. What's comforting now is that we do have players coming back from injury. George North perhaps can slot in the back three there, because you need a bit more experience with Sexton and kicking everywhere. And you've got players like Sam Warburton and Justin Tipuric coming back from injury. Sam Warburton's still injured, but you can kind of gel it all together now to make that squad stronger, and all of a sudden it's looking a lot healthier.
The way the game's gone now, where would you play? Would you play fullback and try and get would that be something that they would try and get you on the ball more often, given how important counter-attacking is from those loose kicks and how teams are trying to keep the ball in play more?
Yeah, I think to be a fullback you've got to have a good strong kicking game, which I didn't have. So that's one strike. No, look, it's what you're finding now is the likes of Stuart Hogg and Lee Harper and Sadigan, Rob Kearney. These guys, with a bit of time, they're encouraged to attack that line. We see with Stuart Hogg every time he gets the ball.
Yeah,
he runs in more than he kicks it now, which would have suited me down to the ground. But no, I think
so. Maybe they would have worked it so that you would have been.
Yeah, you can kind of you move the team around. And Wales at the moment, we've got players like Anscombe who can fit in there as well. George North can play there. Lee Harpin, he can play wing, fullback. Liam Williams, wing, fullback. Whereas they were out and out fullbacks as well. I was just a winger really who took all the plaudits most of the time. But no, the game is now the back three is massively important because there's a lot of kicking. You've really got to fill that last third of the pitch. And the wings are getting a lot of kicks now as well. They're getting a bit more time on the ball, and we've seen a lot more tries scored by wingers on back three. And I would have enjoyed playing in. I was lucky I played in an era where Wales wanted to move the ball around, and it seems to have come full circle again. And we've got players like Stephen Evans scoring tries. We've got George North coming back into the team now who needs to get on the receiving end and scoring tries. And I think that's the way the game's gone. If it was all about defences stopping teams from scoring, but now it's right, confidence in your defence, but we need to score tries as well. And I think I would have enjoyed playing in that part of it.
The broken field runner is actually far more valued. Just it seems over the last 12 months for whatever reason that actually those opportunities are going to come to us in the game. Instead of just kicking it back and trying to be better kick chase, why don't we back somebody who's good at creating? Because you beat one player, then the other defence suddenly they're in scramble mode.
Well, you as soon as you get past one player, it's all bets are off, and it's the structure's out the window. So yeah, that's the way it's gone, and I'm enjoying it. You see, a lot of that is down to the pressure teams are putting on other teams, and we saw it against England where the English defence came up so quick on Patchell and Gareth Davis. It was slow ball, kicks were rushed. Mike Brown had a field day. I don't know how many times he caught the ball clean and was able to make 10, 15, 20 yards. Watson as well, getting the ball going forward. And that's because of the pressure you put teams under in defence, and that's why we've seen Stuart Hogg create so many things. Alright, he was quiet against Wales, but he started to come into his own against France because teams were putting the kickers under pressure. Teddy Thomas doesn't sound like a Frenchman, but he is French. He had a field day where he was having ball, he was having time to look up, take players on one. I think he's had 3 tries in the tournament so far. Not that he's going to score this weekend, but it is the players are getting more time and they're encouraged more to run with ball in hand. Lee Halfpenny with the Scarlets, at Toulon, it was very forward oriented. When he was getting the ball, he was under pressure all the time, and he had a massive defensive game. But his attacking game got taken out of him a little bit.
Totally, and he's such a big boot as well. You think, well, we're just going to use that as opposed to...
It's just moving things around, changing the picture. If you're a fullback that always kicks the ball, then you know how to defend that guy. You just get up on him slowly, wait for him to kick it, and then you put your players back and counter-attack. If you've got a player that you don't know if he's going to kick, you don't know if he's going to run, you don't know if he's going to pass, or if he's going to run from his own try line, then it's really tough to defend these guys, and Stuart Hogg's one of them. And I think we're starting to see a few more now.
Are Wales going to win this weekend, finally?
I do think Wales are capable of winning, but I just think Ireland are on this roll at the moment, and I think it's going to be very close. 10 points. I'll take the 10. If we got the 10 points, I think Wales will win, but I think it's going to be too close to that, and I think Sexton and Murray at the moment are playing really well. So
you're all buttering us up. Everybody from Wales you're such a great team, lads. I think this is going to be one-way traffic. It'll be close, but you're definitely going to win. I don't like you when you're like this.
No, I don't know. I think Ireland are playing very well at the moment, and they're 2 from 2. They're playing at home. I hope they got their eye on the England game. I hope they've got their eye now thinking, right, okay, when we go up there now, we've got to win this match, and they kind of forget the Wales are here on the weekend, but I can't see that happening.
Shane Williams, gent, thanks very much.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.